The morning of the wedding began like a dream. Sunlight slipping through lace curtains, soft piano music echoing across the small New England chapel, and the scent of white roses filling the air. Everyone said it was the perfect day for love. Amelia Hart stood before the mirror, glowing in her satin gown. Her mother adjusted her veil with trembling fingers. "You look just like your grandmother," she whispered, voice breaking. She'd be so proud. Amelia smiled softly. Her reflection stared back, calm, radiant, maybe even fearless. But deep down, her stomach fluttered with nerves. Not about the marriage, about something else. A feeling she couldn't name. A shadow that didn't belong on such a beautiful day. Her bridesmaid and childhood best friend Lily walked in, holding a small glass of champagne. "To the most stunning bride Boston's ever seen," she grinned, raising the glass. Amelia laughed. "You're biased." "Of course," Lily said, eyes gleaming. "That's what best friends are for." As the wedding bells began to toll, Amelia's heart raced. She took one last deep breath and walked toward the chapel doors, her father waiting to escort her down the aisle. The guests rose, the music swelled, and all eyes turned toward her, a vision of grace in white. At the altar stood Michael Turner, the man she'd loved for 4 years, smiling nervously, eyes filled with warmth and disbelief that she was finally his. Halfway down the aisle, Amelia caught sight of someone unfamiliar sitting in the back row, a man in a dark gray suit, eyes fixed on her, face unreadable. For a moment, everything slowed. Her steps faltered, but then she blinked, and he was gone. She reached the altar. Michael took her hand. "You're shaking," he whispered. "I'm okay." She smiled faintly, just overwhelmed. The ceremony began. Vows, rings, laughter, tears. Everything was perfect until the moment came to toast the couple. The best man raised his glass. "To love, to trust, and to forever." Everyone drank. The sound of clinking glasses filled the air. Then a cough, then another. Amelia's fingers loosened around her glass. Her vision blurred. The room spun. Gasps filled the chapel as she fell to her knees, her bouquet scattering across the marble floor. "Amelia!" Michael screamed, catching her before she hit the ground. Her lips trembled, her voice a faint whisper. "Something's wrong." And then chaos. Guests shouting, phones ringing, people rushing for help. That's when someone in the crowd yelled, voice trembling with horror, "It's poison!" The music stopped. The world went silent. Michael looked at the glass still clutched in her hand, the same one she'd toasted with seconds ago. And in that moment, the happiest day of his life turned into a nightmare he'd never escaped. The sirens arrived before the screams stopped echoing. The once joyous chapel, filled with laughter, love, and the rustle of silk, now reeked of panic and spilled champagne. Amelia lay motionless on the marble floor, her white gown stained with drops of gold and crimson petals. Michael held her, his trembling hands pressed against her pulse. "Stay with me, baby. Please stay with me," he whispered, voice breaking. Her eyes fluttered, unfocused. Michael, my throat burns." Paramedics rushed in. Someone pushed him back, shouting orders he couldn't hear. He stood frozen, his mind numb, heart pounding with terror. The world blurred, flashing lights, gasps, the shattered glass near his shoes reflecting the chaos. He looked down at it. That champagne flute, broken in two, tiny bubbles still clinging to the rim. For a moment, everything slowed. The glass. That was where it began. Detective Claire Donovan, Boston PD, sharp eyes, dark coat, and a reputation for solving the unsolvable, was the first investigator on the scene. She crouched beside the fallen glass, snapping on gloves. Her gaze was calm, but piercing. "Everyone stay where you are," she ordered. "No one leaves until we collect statements." Michael's chest heaved. She's my fiancée. Please just save her. She's on her way to St. Mary's Hospital." Claire interrupted gently but firmly. "And we will. But right now I need to know who poured that drink." Lily stepped forward, shaking. I did. It was just champagne. From the same bottle we all drank from." Claire's brow furrowed. "The same bottle?" Lily nodded, tears streaming. "Yes, I swear. We all had it. Why only her?" A murmur rippled through the guests. The best man looked pale. Amelia's mother was crying into her husband's shoulder. Somewhere in the corner, the pianist sat frozen, hands still over the keys, the last note long dead. Michael's gaze darted around, the tables, the tray of glasses, the bouquet on the floor. Who would do this, and why? "Detective," one officer called, holding up the bottle. "Found this behind the bar, still half full." Claire examined the label. A vintage champagne, imported, expensive. She poured a few drops into a testing vial. Within seconds, the clear liquid darkened. She looked up grimly. "Cyanide." The word hit the room like thunder. Gasps. A few screams. Someone fainted. Michael staggered backward, shaking his head. No. That's impossible. Who would? Claire's voice was steady. Mr. Turner, I know this is difficult, but I need you to think. Did Amelia have enemies? Anyone who might have wanted to hurt her? Or you? He stared at her, lost. No, everyone loved her. She was kind. His voice cracked. She didn't deserve this. Then something flickered in his mind. That man, the one in the gray suit sitting in the last row. He hadn't recognized him. He wasn't on the guest list. There was someone, Michael whispered, in the back row. A man, dark gray suit. I saw him watching her, and then he was gone. Claire scribbled the description down. We'll check the security footage. 2 hours later, Michael sat alone in the waiting room at St. Mary's, still in his wedding suit, hands trembling. His cufflinks were gone. His ring was half undone. He stared blankly at the floor, hearing the echo of her last words. Something's wrong. Every sound in the hospital made him flinch. The beep of machines, the squeak of nurses' shoes, the low hum of sorrow that fills every corridor. Finally, the doors opened. Dr. Haynes stepped out, his expression unreadable. Mr. Turner? Michael jumped to his feet. She's alive, the doctor said. Relief flooded him, then froze at the next words. But she's in critical condition. The poison spread fast. We've stabilized her heart, but she hasn't regained consciousness yet. Michael's voice cracked. Can I see her? The doctor nodded, just for a moment. He entered the dim ICU room. Machines beeped softly. Amelia lay there, pale and fragile, her hair spread over the pillow like silk. A breathing tube ran down her throat, IV lines tracing across her arm. Michael sank into the chair beside her. You'll get through this, he whispered, brushing her hand with trembling fingers. You have to. As he sat there, his gaze landed on the bouquet lying on the side table, the same one she'd dropped when she collapsed. But now, something strange caught his eye. A tiny folded note tucked between the petals. He reached for it slowly. The paper smelled faintly of roses and perfume. Inside, written in careful script, were 3 chilling words. Till death unites us. Michael's blood ran cold. He looked around the room, suddenly aware that someone somewhere wasn't finished yet. It was 2:13 a.m. at St. Mary's Hospital. The world outside was drenched in rain, the city wrapped in the kind of silence that only follows tragedy. The soft hum of fluorescent lights filled the ICU corridor, where Michael sat slumped forward in a waiting chair, eyes hollow, suit wrinkled, mind lost somewhere between disbelief and despair. He replayed the wedding again and again, the vows, the music, her smile, the fall, and now, that note, till death unites us. Those 4 words burned through his mind like fire. Who would write that, and why hide it in her bouquet? Detective Claire Donovan arrived quietly, trenchcoat still damp from the rain. She had that calm yet haunted look of someone who had seen too many endings that began with love. You said you found this note in the flowers? She asked, voice low but sharp. Michael nodded, handing it to her. I don't recognize the handwriting. It's not Amelia's, and I swear I didn't. Claire raised a hand. I believe you, but whoever did this knew her, or knew how to get close enough to her to slip this in. She studied the note under the harsh hospital light. No fingerprints, just perfume. Floral, expensive, the same scent on her dress maybe. Michael frowned. That's strange. She never wore perfume that strong. She said it gave her headaches. Claire's eyes narrowed slightly. So whoever wrote this was close enough to touch her bouquet before the ceremony. She looked toward the ICU window, where Amelia lay motionless. Tell me, Mr. Turner, was anyone else helping with the flowers? Michael hesitated. Lily, her best friend. She handled most of the arrangements. But Lily would never, Claire repeated softly. Not accusing, just thinking. Love, jealousy, betrayal. You'd be surprised what people will do when they feel replaced. Michael's expression darkened. Lily loved Amelia like a sister. Good, Claire said. Then she won't mind answering a few questions. A nurse approached just then, voice gentle. Sir, she's stable for now. You can see her again if you like. Michael followed her into the room. The air smelled faintly of antiseptic and wilted roses. Amelia's hand was cold but alive beneath his. He whispered, I'll find who did this to you, I promise. As he spoke, Claire's phone buzzed. It was a text from her team at the chapel crime scene. Forensics report in. No poison residue in the champagne bottle. Trace only found in the bride's glass. Claire's pulse quickened. Only her glass, she murmured. That means it wasn't random. She looked at Michael. Someone specifically targeted her. Michael's voice trembled. But why? Amelia never hurt anyone. Claire exhaled, staring at the rain-streaked window. Then maybe it wasn't her they wanted to hurt. Michael turned to her, confused. What are you saying? Claire met his eyes. Sometimes, Mr. Turner, the easiest way to destroy a man is to break the one thing he loves most. At that moment, her phone rang again. A call from the chapel team. Claire answered quickly. Detective, said the voice on the line. "You might want to come back here. We found something under the bride's chair." "What is it?" "An old photograph, torn in half." Claire's gaze shifted toward Amelia's pale face. "Send it to my phone." Seconds later, the image appeared. It showed a much younger Amelia, smiling, carefree, standing beside a man who wasn't Michael. A man in a gray suit. Claire's eyes widened. "So he's real," she whispered. Michael saw the photo over her shoulder and froze. "That's him. The man I saw at the wedding." Claire's voice went cold. "Then he's not a stranger. He's part of her past." Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, the monitor beside Amelia's bed beeped faster for just a second, as if her heart recognized the storm that was coming. And for the first time, Michael realized he didn't know everything about the woman he was going to marry. The rain hadn't stopped since the wedding. It poured over Boston like grief that refused to dry. Detective Claire Donovan's car pulled up outside an old brick townhouse, Amelia's former apartment, its windows dark, blinds half open, as if it too carried secrets. Michael followed her out, still wearing his wrinkled suit jacket, eyes tired but restless. "She lived here before we met," he said softly. "She never talked much about those years." Claire adjusted her coat. "Then maybe it's time we find out why." Inside, the place was eerily neat. Too neat. Dustless counters, folded blankets, a single photo frame turned face down on the table. Claire flipped it over. It was Amelia again. Younger, smiling, and beside her the same man from the torn wedding photo. He had warm eyes, a calm smile, and an arm around her shoulders like someone who once belonged there. "Who is he?" Claire asked quietly. Michael shook his head. "I don't know. She never mentioned him." Claire noticed something else, a faint indentation on the photo's edge, as if it had once been framed next to another picture, then removed. She searched the shelf. Nothing. "Maybe a fiancé," she said, "or someone who thought he was." They found a small metal box under the bed, locked, rusted. Claire used her penknife to pry it open. Inside were letters, carefully folded, each sealed with the same initials. DM. Michael's voice was barely a whisper. "DM? Who's that?" Claire pulled one open, reading aloud under her breath. "My dearest Amelia, I know you said it's over, but I can't let you go. You promised forever. If not in life, then in death we'll still be together. DM." Michael felt his stomach drop. He said, "In death? That's obsession," Claire finished, her eyes darkening. "This isn't love, this is possession." She picked up the second letter. This one was more recent, dated just 8 months ago. "You're making a mistake, Amelia. He doesn't deserve you. I'll prove it. You'll see who Michael really is." Michael's pulse quickened. He was still following her. Claire folded the letter. "And maybe he never stopped." Her phone buzzed. A message from the lab. "We matched a partial fingerprint on the torn photograph." Claire opened it. The name flashed across her screen. David Mercer. Michael blinked. "Who the hell is David Mercer?" Claire's face hardened. "He's a name that's come up before, 3 years ago, in a poisoning case." Michael froze. "You're saying this isn't his first time?" Claire nodded slowly. "The victim survived, just barely. It was ruled attempted murder, but the case was dropped. The woman refused to testify." Michael's voice shook. "Was that woman?" Claire met his eyes. "Amelia Hart." The words hit him like a blade. He staggered back, gripping the edge of the table. She never told me. She was protecting you," Claire said softly, "or hiding something too painful to relive." Just then, thunder cracked outside, lightning flashing through the blinds, and in that flicker of light, Claire saw it, a faint outline of muddy footprints near the back door. Fresh. She signaled Michael to stay still. Slowly, she walked toward the kitchen. The door was slightly ajar, rain dripping from the frame. Someone had been there, recently, watching. Claire pulled out her gun. "Boston PD! Step out now!" But the only answer was the sound of rain and a faint shadow slipping away into the alley. By the time they reached the back steps, the street was empty. Only a cigarette still burned on the railing, cheap brand, mint-scented, the same kind the man in the gray suit had smoked at the chapel. Claire picked it up carefully with her glove. "He was here," she murmured. "He's watching us." Michael's voice broke. "Why is he doing this?" Claire looked at the city lights beyond the rain. "Because he's not done yet." At that same moment, miles away in a quiet hospital room, Amelia's eyelids fluttered. Her heartbeat spiked on the monitor, and for the first time since the wedding, she whispered something under her breath, so faint the nurse almost missed it. "David, no." Then the line steadied again. Claire and Michael didn't know it yet, but the woman they were trying to save was waking up to the nightmare they were just beginning to uncover. The clock read 3:27 a.m. when Michael's phone buzzed. His eyes shot open. He'd fallen asleep in the hospital chair, still gripping Amelia's scarf in his hands. The nurse stood at the doorway, her expression tense. "She's waking up," she whispered. Michael's heart skipped. He was on his feet before the words fully sank in. The hallway outside the ICU smelled like bleach and rain, sterile, lonely, endless. As he reached her room, the machines beeped faster, her fingers twitching against the sheets. "Amelia," he breathed, stepping closer. Her eyelids fluttered, slowly, painfully. She opened her eyes. They were distant, frightened. like someone trying to climb out of a nightmare. Michael, her voice cracked like glass. He grabbed her hand gently. Hey, I'm here. You're safe now. Tears slipped down her cheeks. No one's safe, she whispered. Not you, not me. Before Michael could speak, Detective Claire appeared behind him. Miss Hart, I'm Detective Donovan. You've been through something terrible, but I need to ask you some questions. Do you remember what happened at the wedding? Amelia blinked, disoriented. The wedding, the glass. Her breath quickened. It burned my throat. I remember a smell, almonds, and then her eyes widened suddenly. David. Michael froze. David Mercer. Her voice trembled. He was there, Michael. I saw him before I walked down the aisle. He was in the back row, smiling at me, like he was proud. Claire stepped forward, calm but alert. You're sure it was him? Amelia nodded weakly. He mouthed something. Forever means forever. Then I felt dizzy. My bouquet. There was something in it. Michael's jaw tightened. He poisoned you. He did this. Amelia's gaze filled with tears. It's my fault, she whispered. I should have told you. Told me what? Her eyes drifted away, staring at nothing. 3 years ago, I tried to leave him. He was charming at first, but when I said I didn't love him anymore, he changed. He said if I ever belonged to someone else, he'd make sure I remembered him. Even in death. Claire's voice was steady. Why didn't you report it? I did, Amelia said, voice breaking. He was arrested, but then I got scared. He sent me letters from prison, said he knew where my parents lived, where I worked. I dropped the charges. He disappeared. Michael's fists clenched. Until now. Amelia nodded, eyes full of guilt. I thought he moved on. I never thought he'd find me again. Claire's phone buzzed. A text from her partner at the station. Detective, we traced Mercer's car, abandoned outside St. Mary's Hospital parking lot. Engine still warm. Claire's heart sank. He's here. Before she could say another word, the lights flickered. Once, twice. The monitors beeped erratically. The nurse's voice came over the intercom. Detective Donovan, we just lost camera feed on the west hallway. Claire drew her weapon instantly. Lock this floor down now. Michael's pulse raced. You think he's inside the hospital? Claire's eyes were already on the door. He didn't come here to run. He came here to finish what he started. The room fell into silence, the rain outside pounding harder. Amelia squeezed Michael's hand, whispering, Don't leave me. I'm not going anywhere, he said, his voice shaking. Then a faint sound echoed from the hallway, metal scraping against tile, slow, deliberate. Claire motioned for silence. She moved toward the door, listening. The sound stopped, and then a low male voice, cold and calm, echoed from somewhere in the darkness. I told you, Amelia. Forever means forever. The hallway lights flickered again. The monitor beside Amelia's bed spiked. David Mercer wasn't a ghost. He was inside. The storm raged harder than ever, wind howling through the broken hospital vents like screams of something unseen. The generator lights flickered dimly, casting long shadows down the empty corridor. Detective Claire Donovan moved first, gun raised, her heartbeat echoing louder than the thunder. Michael stood frozen near the hospital bed, one arm around Amelia. Her trembling fingers clung to him, her eyes darting to the door. He's here, she whispered, barely audible. I can feel him. Claire took a deep breath, pushing the door open just enough to peer outside. The hallway was drenched in red emergency light. A cart had been overturned. A single IV bag hung, dripping onto the floor, each drop echoing like a countdown. Then, a faint metallic sound. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, getting closer. Michael, Claire hissed. Get her somewhere safe. Storage room across the hall. Go. Michael hesitated, but one look at Amelia's pale face made his decision. He helped her off the bed, guiding her across the room. Her legs were weak. Every step was agony. The beeping monitor behind them flatlined as its wire was pulled free. Claire stepped into the corridor, flashlight cutting through the darkness. David Mercer! Her voice rang out. It's over! The building's surrounded! No answer, only the hiss of rain seeping through a cracked window. And then, from the far end of the hallway, a man stepped out of the shadows, tall, calm, wearing the same gray suit, soaked and wrinkled, but unmistakable. His eyes gleamed like polished steel. Detective, he said softly, almost polite. You shouldn't interrupt a reunion. Claire raised her gun. Drop whatever's in your hand. David smiled faintly, lifting a small silver flask. You mean this? Almond oil and a touch of cyanide. A wedding gift gone to waste. Michael's voice echoed from behind the door. Stay away from her. David's expression softened. Michael, the husband, the thief of hearts. Tell me, does she still dream of me when she says your name? Amelia's voice cracked from inside the storage room. Stop it, David, please. Something in her tone, fear mixed with pity, made his eyes darken. You still care, he murmured, even after everything. Claire took a step forward. You poisoned her. You stalked her. You almost killed her. She left me. David interrupted, his voice suddenly sharp. She promised forever. She swore it. Lightning flashed behind him, illuminating the madness in his face. You can't break forever, he whispered. In a heartbeat he lunged. Claire fired. 1, 2 shots. The sound thundered through the hall. He stumbled back, clutching his shoulder, but didn't fall. Instead, he laughed, a chilling, broken sound. "You think pain matters to a dead man?" he hissed. Michael burst out of the room, swinging a metal pole, striking David hard across the arm. The flask flew from his hand, rolling down the floor. It clinked to a stop against the wall. Amelia screamed, "Michael, stop!" David's face twisted, not in pain but in sorrow. "You'd fight me for him because he saved me," she cried. "Because you tried to destroy me." He staggered, breathing hard, then looked at her one last time. "You'll regret this, Amelia. Love doesn't die. It just waits." Before Claire could move, he turned and sprinted toward the emergency exit, slamming the door open. The wind howled in as he disappeared into the storm. The hallway fell silent, except for the distant sound of sirens drawing near. Michael dropped the pole, chest heaving. Amelia collapsed against him, sobbing. Claire holstered her weapon, eyes still fixed on the open door. "He's not gone," she muttered. "Men like him don't run. They plan." Amelia looked up, terrified. "Then what happens now?" Claire exhaled slowly. "Now," she said, "we find him before he finishes what he started." Outside, rain washed the blood from the floor, and somewhere beyond the parking lot, David Mercer walked calmly into the darkness, his gray suit blending with the storm. Under his breath, he whispered to the night, "Forever means forever." The next morning, Boston felt colder. The storm had passed, but the air still carried its weight, heavy, tense, unspoken. Detective Claire Donovan hadn't slept. She sat in the dim light of her office, files spread across the desk like the aftermath of a battle. On her screen blinked a single line from the national database. David Mercer, psychiatric patient, discharged 2019, St. Augustine Mental Health Institute. Claire leaned back, rubbing her temples. A psychiatric discharge 2 years before the attempted murder. Why had no one flagged this before? She picked up the phone. "This is Detective Donovan, Boston PD. I need full access to patient records. David Mercer, admitted 2017. The nurse on the other end hesitated. "Detective, those files were sealed, court-ordered by a family member." "Whose name?" Claire demanded. The nurse checked quietly. "Amelia Hart." Claire froze. "Amelia sealed his record?" "Yes, ma'am. She was his emergency contact and his fiancée." The words hit like thunder. Claire's hand tightened around the phone. "Send me whatever's left in his public file," she said, voice steady but cold. Within minutes, an email popped up. "Patient evaluation summary. D. Mercer." She opened it. The notes were clinical, emotionless, but the story beneath them was horrifying. Subject exhibits extreme dependency behavior toward partner. Obsession manifests as delusional attachment. Patient believes death cannot separate them. When partner attempted separation, patient responded with self-harm and threat of harm to others. Recommended continued supervision. Patient discharged after behavioral improvement. Claire exhaled sharply. Behavioral improvement? He was released, and then he went straight back to her. The elevator doors opened behind her. Michael stepped out, looking worn and hollow. "You said you found something," he said. Claire turned the monitor toward him. She wasn't just his ex. She was the reason he got released. She helped him. Michael stared at the screen, disbelief written across his face. "That can't be true." She was terrified of him. "Maybe now," Claire said softly. "But back then, maybe she thought she could save him." She handed him a photo from the file. A younger Amelia, smiling beside David in front of St. Augustine's. Her hand was resting on his shoulder. His eyes, even then, looked too calm, too certain. Michael sank into the chair, whispering, "She told me he was a mistake. She never said this." Claire closed the file. "There's more. St. Augustine's had another patient with Mercer's initials, DM. The doctor who treated him disappeared 6 months after the discharge. His notes were never recovered." Michael looked up. "You think he killed him?" "I think Mercer never stopped keeping souvenirs," she replied grimly. The office door opened suddenly. A young officer, breathless. "Detective, you need to see this." Security footage from the hospital. They followed him into the tech room. The video played, black and white, time-stamped 3:48 a.m., just after Mercer's escape. The camera panned toward the back alley, rain pouring down. There, a figure, David Mercer, limping, clutching his arm. But what made Claire's stomach twist wasn't that he was walking away. It was that he wasn't alone. Next to him was a woman, long coat, hood pulled up. She handed him something small, a set of car keys, and pointed toward the street. The footage flickered, and her face turned just enough for the light to hit it. Michael's breath caught. "That's Lily." Claire's eyes narrowed. "The bridesmaid?" He nodded slowly. "Amelia's best friend." The room went silent, except for the hum of the monitor. Claire's voice was low, controlled. "Then this isn't just obsession anymore. Someone's helping him." Michael whispered almost to himself. "Lily, why would she do that?" Claire replayed the footage, staring at the shadowed figures in the rain. "That's what we're going to find out." Outside, The storm clouds gathered again, as if the city itself knew the worst was still to come. And somewhere, in a quiet motel off Route 9, David Mercer sat in the dark, his wounded arm wrapped in a towel. Across from him, Lily placed a small photo on the table, Amelia in her wedding dress. David smiled faintly, touching the image with blood-stained fingers. "You said you wanted to help," he murmured. "Then help me bring her home." Lily's hands trembled, but she nodded. "I will." The rain began again, and the hunt was far from over. The motel room smelled of rain and iron. The only light came from a flickering neon sign outside, glowing vacancy in red through the curtain. David Mercer sat at the edge of the bed, pale, his arm bleeding through a towel. Across from him, Lily stood frozen, her breath uneven, her hands shaking as she pressed a first aid kit against the table. "Hold still," she whispered, her voice cracking. "You've lost too much blood." David smirked faintly. "You always cared more than she did." Lily looked up sharply. Don't talk about her like that." He tilted his head. "Then why are you here, Lily? Why are you helping the man who tried to kill your best friend?" The question hung heavy. She couldn't answer. Not yet. Instead, she grabbed the bottle of antiseptic and poured it over his wound. He flinched, but didn't scream. "Pain keeps me focused," he muttered. "Makes me remember." Lily turned away, her reflection trembling in the cracked mirror. "You don't know what you did to her," she whispered. "You destroyed her." David's eyes flickered with something almost human. "And yet, here you are, saving me." Silence. Lily pressed her hands to her face. The weight of years, secrets, and shame pressed down until it broke through her trembling lips. "She loved me first." David blinked. "What?" Lily's voice cracked open like glass. "Amelia, before you, before anyone. We were inseparable. College, road trips, every dream, every secret. But when she met you, she changed. She stopped calling, stopped needing me. You took her away." Her tears fell freely now, raw and shaking. "And then she came to me, terrified, saying she wanted to leave you. You begged her to stay." "She did, and she never smiled again." David's jaw tightened. "She promised she'd never leave." "She promised me too," Lily whispered, breaking completely. "But you got there first." For a moment, neither spoke. The rain outside softened, turning into a distant hum, the calm before another storm. David's voice was low, almost tender. "So this is your revenge? Helping me find her?" Lily looked up, her face streaked with tears. "No, this is my confession." She walked to her bag, pulling out a small vial, clear liquid swirling under the neon light. David frowned. "What's that?" Lily's hand shook. "The same poison you used. I found it in your car months ago. She gave it to me before the wedding. Said if anything ever happened to her, I'd know who to blame." David stood, eyes burning. "You're lying." She stepped closer, holding the vial between them. "You think I'd lie now?" His eyes darkened. "Then what do you plan to do with it?" Lily smiled faintly, a broken, haunted smile. "Make things right." Before he could move, she smashed the vial against the wall. Glass scattered, fumes filling the air. David staggered back, coughing violently, eyes burning. Lily grabbed her bag and ran, tears mixing with the rain as she stumbled into the night. Behind her, David's voice echoed through the storm. "You can't save her, Lily. She's mine. She'll always be mine." She didn't look back. Back in Boston, Detective Claire Donovan stared at the new evidence laid before her. An anonymous call had tipped them off. The motel was real, the room number matched, and one name appeared on the motel's register, Lily Anderson. Claire whispered to herself, "She's not running from him, she's running with him." Michael, standing behind her, felt the chill in her tone. "Then where are they now?" Claire turned toward the rain-streaked window, where it all started. Far away, on the outskirts of town, headlights cut through the darkness, a car speeding toward a familiar old place. St. Augustine Mental Health Institute, abandoned for years. Inside, David Mercer was waiting. The wind howled through the broken windows of St. Augustine Mental Health Institute. The once sterile halls now echoed with the ghostly creak of rusted doors and dripping rain from the cracked roof. Somewhere inside, a single lantern flickered, its weak glow falling across shattered furniture and decaying files. Lily's car screeched to a stop outside. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel. Every instinct screamed for her to turn back, but she couldn't, not anymore. She stepped out into the rain, clutching a small photo of Amelia, torn and water-stained, in her fist. Her voice cracked through the wind. "David, I know you're here." From deep inside the building, his voice drifted back, calm, eerie, and too familiar. "You came back just like she did." Her pulse spiked. She stepped into the darkness, her flashlight cutting through clouds of dust. Each step echoed like a heartbeat. Memories from years ago flooded back. Visiting David here, sitting in that same cold hallway as Amelia begged the doctors to help him. Lily had watched it all, and she had kept every secret. "Where is she?" she called. "Where's Amelia?" David's silhouette appeared at the end of the corridor, tall, still bleeding through his sleeve, but smiling faintly. "She's closer than you think." He turned and began walking, slow and deliberate. Lily followed, anger battling with fear. They entered a long-forgotten therapy room, walls lined with patient files, graffiti, and old restraints still hanging from hooks. In the center stood an old wheelchair, and on it, a wedding veil. Lily's breath caught. What is this? David's eyes gleamed in the lantern's light. Our home, our beginning. She promised we'd never be apart, but she lied. They all lie. Lily's tears spilled again. You're sick, David. She tried to help you. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. Help me. She left me to rot in here. Do you know what it's like to love someone so deeply you can't breathe without them, and then watch them walk away? Lily's hand went to her bag, a small revolver inside, her last desperate precaution. You don't get to talk about love, she said, trembling. You turned it into a prison. David smiled. And you turned guilt into devotion. The word struck her like a slap. What are you talking about? He tilted his head, almost gently. The night she died, you were there. Lily froze. No, I wasn't. She called you from the car. She told you she was leaving me for good. You told her to meet you after the ceremony, didn't you? Lily's breathing hitched. Stop it. But she never made it, he continued softly. You didn't call for help. You didn't warn her. You let her go back to me. Lily shook her head, sobbing now. I thought she'd be safe. I thought. David's voice rose, echoing through the decaying halls. You thought wrong. He slammed his hand against the wheelchair, sending the veil fluttering to the ground. You let her die just like I did, so don't pretend you're the hero here. Lightning flashed through the broken windows, and in that split second, Lily saw it. An old, sealed door at the back of the room. A faint sound came from behind it, soft, rhythmic, alive. Her heart stopped. What is that? David's smile returned, calm, twisted. You wanted to find her. Go ahead. Lily moved past him, pulling the bolt free with shaking hands. A door creaked open, revealing a small room, candlelight flickering on the walls. In the center sat an old hospital bed, and on it, a woman, pale, breathing shallowly, a scar running along her neck. Amelia. Lily gasped, falling to her knees. Oh my God, Amelia. David stood in the doorway, eyes glassy. She didn't die. I saved her. She just needed to sleep for a while. Lily's tears blurred everything. You kept her here for years? He nodded softly. She's at peace now. No more lies, no more pain. Lily turned toward him, fury burning through her grief. You call this peace? You destroyed her life. David's calm broke. He lunged, but this time, Lily was ready. The gun went off, echoing through the institute like thunder. He fell to his knees, shock in his eyes. You were supposed to love her. Lily's hand shook around the gun. I still do. He collapsed, eyes still open. That same eerie calm, frozen forever. Lily rushed to Amelia's side, gripping her cold hand. Please, please wake up, she sobbed. It's over. You're safe now. Amelia's fingers twitched. Lily froze, whispering, Amelia, slowly, painfully. Her eyes opened, and she whispered one word, barely audible, but enough to send chills through Lily's soul. Why did you bring him back? The lantern flickered and went out. The lantern's last flicker died, plunging the room into suffocating darkness. Rain hammered the roof like a drumbeat from somewhere far away. Lily's voice trembled through the blackness. Amelia, it's me. It's Lily. You're safe now. A faint groan, then a whisper. Safe? No one's safe here. Lightning flashed through the window, illuminating Amelia's face for the first time. Pale, hollow, her eyes clouded with something that wasn't sleep. It was memory. She stared at Lily, as if seeing a ghost. You shouldn't have come back, Amelia whispered. He told me you would. Lily's heart pounded. He's gone. He can't hurt you anymore. But Amelia shook her head slowly. You don't understand. He didn't keep me here. You did. Lily froze. What are you talking about? Amelia's breathing grew ragged, her voice breaking. The night of the wedding, I wasn't poisoned. You knew that. You switched the drinks. The world seemed to stop. No, Lily whispered. No, I tried to save you. Amelia's eyes blazed with a sudden haunting clarity. You wanted me gone, Lily. You wanted me to run. You told him I'd drink from that glass. You knew he'd panic. You made him think he killed me. Lily's tears spilled, but she couldn't speak. The truth she had buried for years clawed its way to the surface. Amelia continued, her tone trembling but merciless. You didn't want to lose me. Not to him. Not to anyone, so you made us destroy each other. Lily fell to her knees beside the bed, shaking her head. I did it because I loved you. I couldn't watch him ruin you, Amelia. I thought if he was gone, you'd be free. Amelia's eyes softened, not with forgiveness, but sorrow. You both caged me, in different ways. Outside, thunder roared, a violent echo of what hung in the air. Lily's hand hovered near the bed, desperate, trembling. I came back to make it right, to end this. Amelia's voice dropped to a whisper. Then end it, Lily. Her gaze shifted toward the revolver still lying on the floor, half hidden in the lantern's shadow. For a moment, neither moved. Then, footsteps from down the hall. Slow, heavy, impossible. Lily's breath hitched. No. The door creaked open, and a shadow filled the frame. Tall, limping, a blood-stained shirt pressed against his chest. David Mercer. He smiled faintly, eyes glazed but alive. You can't kill forever, he said softly. She promised me eternity. Lily stumbled back, the world spinning. I shot you. You were. David stepped closer, voice breaking. She brought me back, just like she brought you here. You think you make choices, Lily. We're all just pieces in her story. Amelia's voice rose, trembling and fierce. Stop! I ended it once. I'll end it again. Her hand reached under the sheet, pulling a shard of broken glass from the table beside her bed. Her fingers shook as she held it up between them. David's expression softened. For the first time, almost human. Then do it. Finish what you started. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Goodbye, David. Lightning flashed. A scream tore through the halls. A glass fell, shattering against the tile. When the thunder faded, there was silence. Claire Donovan's voice came next, distant but firm. Boston PD, drop your weapon. Officers flooded the building, flashlights slicing through the gloom. They found the room moments later. David Mercer, motionless, a wound in his chest. Amelia, unconscious, barely breathing. And Lily, sitting beside her, staring blankly at the rain outside. She whispered the same words over and over, too softly for anyone to understand. Forever means forever. 3 days later, Claire stood at the edge of St. Augustine's ruins as they began demolition. The official report called it a double tragedy. A murderer dead, 2 women in critical condition. But Claire knew better. She'd seen Amelia's eyes open in the ambulance, her lips forming a name, David. And in Lily's abandoned notebook, she found one final entry. Love doesn't die. It just waits in the dark. Claire looked at the old building one last time as the wrecking ball swung. Rain began to fall again. And somewhere beneath the rubble a whisper echoed on, soft, familiar, eternal. Forever means forever.